Just checking. Everything's good here? Okay. Okay, so yeah. So what we're doing here is basically if the audio or anything isn't going well, just let me know. I'll try to monitor the chat here. I'm not like I said, I haven't streamed before, so I'll be trying to monitor this as best as possible. Let me know if something is going wacky. So basically, really what I want to do is uh, basically take the Level Up store, which exists right now with React Router 3, and just basically upgrade it to React Router 4, which is considerably different. Now, this is live streaming, so if, like I said, if the audio is messed up or something you can't hear, let me know. Likewise, I have a newborn and a dog that barks a lot, so if you hear dog barking, baby crying, that's probably going to happen. But another thing to get out of the way is I'm using VS Code here. I'm using um, the material design theme. I'm not sure which one of them. There's like a whole bunch of them. Either way, one of the new ones. This purple variation of it looks nice. The font size is nice and bumped up, but I'm not quite. It should be pretty good here for the font size. So really, this is the wrong project. Let me open up the right project. Okay, and I'm also using ESLint to lint the code here. So if you see sort of things adjusting, then it be know that it's ESLint taking care of it. So this is pretty much um, the project here. Sorry, my laptop is struggling, and it was one of the first React sites I built. It's using React and Meteor. The Meteor component shouldn't matter too much, but because it's one of the first React sites I ever built, there might be some wonky things here and there. And if you notice them, you can always shout it out or just let me know. But this is one of those live sort of projects that's constantly being updated. Uh, Only left channel is working. Let me see if I can tweak that properties. Oh, is there no way? Okay. How do I turn this off of being mono? Yeah, I'm trying to get this set to mono, but I'm not sure if there's any way I can do that directly in the capture device. I'm not seeing it here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, not getting any options for mono here. Let me try the internal microphone. Does this sound all right, or does this sound terrible? How's this sounding to people? Good, good. Can you hear? Okay, I'll use the internal mic. I don't know why there's no switch to hear mono or something like that. So yeah, I guess that's how it goes, right? Okay, so here we are. Again, I'll be trying to monitor this. Again, tell me, shout out if it's going audio's not great. But here we are. We have the Level Up store. Nothing too crazy here. It's a Meteor site, and the structure of the site is really just standard what you're used to with any sort of routing setup, right? You have your routes page on Meteor startup. I'm rendering, and then essentially this whole tree of routes, right? I have some routes for receipts. I have routes for products, individual products. I have one for a very specific product, and this, this conversion, it's kind of going from React Router 3 to React Router 4 can be totally different, and it's nice to have a place to start off. And what I usually like to do here, I've done a couple of these conversions right now, is to really just comment all this stuff out, start with a white screen here, and then sort of work back from there. I mean, React Router 4 has all of the components. Only see a fifth of the screen. Great. Okay. Where is OBS? What's going on here? Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to change the screen thing, but OBS is like not showing up. Give me a second. I'm going to pause this right back. Oh, yeah, so this shows that there's no crop. I don't know why. Let me do manual and see if that helps. Crop to left, okay. Of course. Yeah, this OBS thing is not working so hot. Let me remove display capture, re-edit, see if that helps. Yeah, this is how it goes, right? Exactly. This is how you struggle through something here. Let's go crop to window, see if that does it. Can say VS Code. Where's VS Code? VS Code. Ugh. Yeah, I'm trying to add the whole screen capture. If you click this, it shows you the whole screen, right? Look at this. It's showing the whole screen within this, and then the moment I go and click OK, this is currently on a real laptop. I typically record on my Hackintosh, but I wanted to. Great. Oh, the good news is it looks like I can use my microphone again. Test. Test. So is this mono now? Audio mono? Okay, cool. Now, got to figure out the resize. Yeah, click the element preview window. Oh, see, resize. Yeah, it's weird because it shows in display capture here. It shows the full screen. Obviously, I'm not sure what's going on here. I will continue to answer questions. Yes. Crop. Two window. Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah, it's showing that I'm not cropping this at all. No crop. The pop-up window shows it correctly. The main window. Yeah, I get that the main window doesn't show it correctly, but I don't know why. I can drag this, but oh, you can resize this here. Ah, beauty. Look at that. All right. Professional. This is professional. Okay. No, I don't want to exit. Okay. Things are looking good, right? Cool. Here's code. Code, everything looking good? Yay, okay, yeah, agreed. Awesome. Cool. So basically, there's nothing crazy about this routing setup, right? There's a couple of just nested routes. And as we're going to go here, you're going to see I have some layouts like admin layout, home layout, receipt layout, that sort of stuff. And these right now are not totally essentially optimized, right? You're going to see things like default helmet that's not dry at all. And there's certainly work to be done there. And also, I was using server-side rendering on this, so I had this no SSR component in here. I'm no longer using server-side rendering. However, that will be a topic of another one of these helpful live streams, as I can, after I get this upgraded, I'm going to be moving it into server-side. So the first thing I want to do is I want to upgrade my React router. So let's check out my packages file and see what version I'm even on. Packages.json. And let's see. So I'm on version 3.0.1, which is super old at this point. And I want to be upgrading it. I'm using yarn. I think the yarn command for that is something like, why is it so small? Okay. I think the yarn command for something like that is yarn upgrade. Yeah. So yarn upgrade and then React. Is it React hyphen router? Yep, React hyphen router. And this will hopefully give me the absolute latest version as far as what I know with this command. Okay, so it looks like I'm at version 4.1.1. You can see that confirmed here, 4.1.1. And obviously, everything is going to be totally breaking from this point forward. Sorry, this is like computer is having a hard time. Let's see. Okay, so basically either way, things aren't working here. there's just a total white screen. The white screen exists right now because there's obviously nothing being rendered at all. And if we were to come in here and we were to redo this meteor.startup, which it's just an arrow function, and inside of here we're simply just calling the render function from React DOM that we're importing up top here. And we're simply just going to say render, and then what we're rendering, and I believe it's just what is it? It's just comma after that. I'm rendering it directly to the React root. Okay. Sorry, that goes inside of this render. So basically, what we're going to have here is some sort of a route component, and then we would have a comma, and then where it is rendering to. Now, what is actually going on within this render function, or at least for right now? Well, React Router 4 is going to function quite a bit differently than React Router 3. And React Router 3, you'll remember we had to import router, index route, browser history from React Router, and that's really no longer the case. And when we upgraded to the latest version of React Router, we no longer essentially are importing stuff directly from React Router all the time, but often React DOM router. So for instance, the first thing we want to do, instead of importing all this stuff, is get rid of it, and we're going to be importing, and we're going to import browser router. So it's browser router from, or I'm sorry, browser router as router. So basically, React Router has the options to be used in a whole bunch of different contexts, from on the browser to native to even in VR and all sorts of stuff. Because of that, you're not just always using a router or whatever. You want to be using the one specifically for the DOM, which is the browser router. But I don't want to always type out browser router. So using as router allows you to sort of have it look like what you'd expect. And we're doing that from React Router DOM. Okay. And this is just going to allow us to bring in our router. Now, essentially what we want to do here in our render function is have our router component. And inside of our router component, in the past, we had to do this history, browser history, this sort of stuff. We don't have to pass in history or anything like that anymore. And then we would have a route component, which is essentially being home layout. Now, the idea, though, the way you want to think about React Router is a little bit different, right? Instead of having essentially root layouts, I want to think about maybe a component that acts as sort of like a filter, whether you're going into the home layout, the static layout, the receipt layout, that sort of stuff. And I want to do that through what could be an app component. Now, this app component can sort of live anywhere. It could live right down here if I wanted it to. And I could just say const app is equal to, okay, and here I can return, and this will just be div, I could say hi, and basically I want this router to render the app component. You know, this ESLint just undid all that stuff I did. That's cool too. Let's move this comma up a line, move this down a line. Okay, I like the way this looks a little bit better. But basically on Meteor Startup, we're rendering the router component, which inside of that is just the app. The app component is simply just an arrow function with a div that returns hi. Make sure I didn't mess anything up here. Sorry, this reloading is struggling. I'm not sure if it's because I'm live streaming as well. I wonder if there's anything I can cut out. Oh, yeah. Okay, rookie move here. I did not ever install React DOM router. We imported React DOM router up top here, or browser router from React DOM router. Never installed it. Yarn add React DOM router. Sorry about that. Make sure I grab that. And if I would have looked at my console, it would have told me that, but I didn't. Okay, what we should see here when I get a refresh actually is to actually see this render the div that says hi. Okay, so you can't see it. It's tiny. It says hi up here in the top left. And that's nice because it means essentially that, well, our router, even as sort of dumb as it is working. Now let's actually get sort of a first quarter sort of component working. And the easiest way to do that would maybe to take a look at my home component and then home layout. So in the past, when you're converting these things, I like to do it sort of maybe one small chunk at a time, get that 100% working, and then a sort of a blanket apply that to the rest. So for instance, we have this div here in an app, but obviously this app component is going to function more as like a router. In fact, we won't necessarily even need it, but I sometimes like to break it out for various reasons. So it's okay to have it outside of here for now, even if it looks like it's sort of useless, just in case for like future growth or something like that. So in my app component, I want to talk about some of these new components in React Router. So if we come up top here, we already imported browser router from React Router DOM. I want to import. Let's see. I want to import route. I want to import switch, and I want to import with router. Okay. Actually, no, I don't need with router right now, but I might need with router eventually, and I'll explain that in a little bit. It has to do with using decorators to grab data from Meteor, which is a little bit of an issue with React Router 4, but easily solved. Okay, so I'm going to say from, and then from is just going to be, actually these are all from React Router DOM. I don't know what I was thinking here. So import route and switch as well as browser router as router from React Router DOM. Now, route is essentially going to be very similar to what you would expect in another route component in the old version of React Router. The switch acts like a JavaScript switch statement. So really inside of our app code right here, we could throw in a switch. So we could say switch. No, not an actual literal switch. Oh, come on, Emmett. What are you doing? So typically, Emmett would complete this for me, but of course, during a live stream, it's choosing not to. And so I have the switch, and inside of our switch statement is going to be a route statement. Now, or component, that is. Well, why would you use the switch? Well, the switch is sort of like the way it functions in JavaScript, right? When you have a switch statement, it sort of goes down the line and matches the first thing and executes that. And this switch component works the same way. Now, when React Router 4 came out, I wasn't totally psyched about the name switch for this component, but it is a switch statement. It makes sense. So what we want to do here is now we simply want to just have a route. And this route is going to say for, let's say for the path, where the path is just a forward slash, what we want to do is simply just render, and we want to render, and this accepts a component. So no, actually, I'm sorry. I've used render a lot typically because render allows you to do a little bit more here, but what we want to do is have a property called component, not render itself. My apologies there. So simply just component, and this auto completion is killing me. And inside of here, component. Okay, yeah, basically all we need to do is pass in home layout. Now we're already importing home layout, so I don't have to import it or anything. And this is going to cause some errors for a number of reasons. When we head back here, if this ever, it's taking its sweet time to recompile here for some reason. But as you can see here, we're erroring out. And that's because if we take a look at home layout is accepting, it's a stateless function here, right? And it's accepting basically children. And if we were to look at this, there's obviously no children to the home layout. We're just giving this home layout. So to get this even non-broken, let's go ahead and simply just comment this out for a second. I'm just deleting this vertical rhythm thing I have going on here just to get out of the way. And let's see this actually render our home layout. The theme is, it's a material theme. I'm not quite sure. Also, this is using Meteor 1.4. It's not on 1.5 yet, but that could also be something that I could do here. Okay, no errors here. Where are we at on the client side? It looks like expected a string for built-in component types. Okay, check the render method of header. So something weird going on in header. Comment that out for now. I simply want to just get this up and running, so I don't need to import component here. And somebody mentioned saying they were missing a return. Because this is the way this arrow function works right here, there's no brackets here. And because I don't have anything additional going on inside of here, right? If I were to have brackets, then I would need a return statement. But you'll notice the semicolon after here. This syntax is actually valid, and ESLint will say it's cool. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm still getting some errors here. We'll work on those in a minute. And that's the way this sort of process goes, right? You're going to make small little changes here and there. You're going to get errors. You're going to fix them. But either way, the idea here is that in our routes file, we're rendering app. App is coming into our main switch, which sort of acts like this sort of area down here, but it'll be much less like that in a minute. And then we're hitting the home layout if the path is simply just /. Now, from home layout is where it gets a little bit more interesting. For instance, in our routes right here, we used to have this index route component home, and this was nested inside of our router, which you would think maybe, hey, I'm going to throw it inside of app, right? Because this is sort of analogous here, but it's really not that way. And this is sort of the brilliance of React Router 4, which at first glance is sort of, it's a little off-putting, right? It's a little weird. But what we want to do is actually bring in another switch statement into our home layout entirely. So if we were to come to home layout, we'll want to import some of the same stuff. I'm going to copy this, head to home layout from inside of here. I no longer need browser router as router, but I do want switch and route. Let's uncomment main, and let's go ahead and have a switch statement in here. So what you're doing with React Router 4 is it's much less of you having one central route and more or less the routes being defined as you drill down into your project. And you'll see in a minute here why this helps for some code reusability. So we can have a route with a path of, now I want this to be /. Now I also want this to be basically the way React Router works is like the switch statement, right? So the first condition that it finds to be true, it executes. And if we were to have something where say, hey, the path is /, it might execute that when we aren't expecting it to execute it. when it doesn't match it exactly. For instance, the only time that this home page should load was when the path / is exact. So we want to say yes, exact. When this path is exactly / nothing, then we want to go ahead and load the component. Of course, we want to load. Okay, let's go ahead and load the component. And now this component, well, it could be anything, but we want it to be the home component, which currently is not being imported, right? We imported it up here in our routes, and here it is. It's in pages home. I'm going to cut this out of here, and I'm going to re-import this, but I think it's a ... pages home. I think I'm in a layouts folder. Let me double check. Layouts, yes, okay. So now I'm importing the home component, and instead of defining this and loading it in a routes file, we can just do so directly in our home layout. And as we should see in a second, our home component should start showing up. Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm trying to pull up the chat here, just so I can always have the chat up on my phone or something. That way I can actually communicate. Okay. Looks like I'm getting an error. Check the render method of home. Check the render method of home. Let's check it out. And sometimes this actually, you get this error because things aren't exported or imported correctly. In fact, let me get this back to this state over here so that it does, in fact, a little bit easier to read. Okay, and okay, ESLint just did it for me anyways. Okay, whatever. So let me check this out, see what's going on here. I'll start just commenting stuff out. It's a good strategy. Oh, I changed the color of the activity bar in VS Code because it's you can do that now, but only some themes support it. So I'm on the insiders build of VS Code, but that's not why it's doing that. Yeah, so I'm getting some weird stuff. I'm getting some errors in like the admin toolbar, so I'll comment that out. Like I said, it's one of these things where you get errors and you adjust it. So I commented a whole bunch of stuff out in my home component to see sort of what's going on. It could just be a missing props here. For instance, I left the billboard uncommented and it's showing up just fine. So now I can, let's do the products list, which I suspect might be the culprit. We will see here. Hey, yeah, this is an e-commerce site built from scratch. If you see any like exploits anywhere, which I can't imagine I'll be getting into any of that stuff, but let's say you see an exploit or something, let me know and I'll fix it. Yeah, so it looks like the issue I'm having is from within featured products, and that is most likely having to do with how I'm bringing in data from Meteor. So Let's go ahead and potentially just remove the products list for now. Let me get rid of one of these errors too. Let's see, packages. I don't know if this is a Meteor package or not. I have SSR package in here, and I'm not using it, so yes, this is the one, React Router SSR. I'm not using that package right now. It's causing a bunch of errors down here. I'm gonna get rid of it. Sorry, this is I think the fact that I'm live streaming on this laptop is like causing it to have really long build times. I don't know it's got to be the CPU here or something. Is next time I might have to do this on my Hackintosh. Yeah, and I will set this to public, even though things are being a little difficult. I'll definitely set it to public here. One thing I can do is start cleaning out some of this stuff. It's nice to have, you can sort of basically use your old route file as a checklist. For instance, we are still using import home layout, but I'm not using the home component anymore from here. And I cut it out of here, but I can also come down here to my old route and just simply delete it from here. I know that's kind of stupid, but it's a great way to keep track of which routes, in fact, you're working on or are getting out of your routing file. This code is React and Meteor. It's essentially just React code, though. The Meteor stuff we haven't even looked at yet. So far, I'm hitting the router, I'm hitting the switch statement, I'm loading the home layout, and then inside of home layout, let's get rid of this children here. I'm not using it. We're essentially just having another switch statement where we have a route, which allows it to load up the home component. And my compiler is taking forever. This is not part of a series. This is basically this is the Level Up store. This is a site that I built myself entirely on React and Meteor. And basically I needed to upgrade it to React Router 4 and thought it would be cool to show you while I did it. All right, it's clearly having like some issues here with various aspects. I'm gonna start because let's take each of these as they come. We were having an issue with the header component, right? Notice how I'm just like commenting everything out right now. It's better to get this to error free and sort of take each error as they come. And this, this process can be really smooth or it can be not really smooth. I think the Meteor component of this does add some complexity when and how you're pulling in data. I will not be doing any dynamic importing today, but it's definitely something I will be doing. So I haven't had the chance to like analyze and dive into that for what that means for this particular project. Okay, we have a clean slate here, no errors. Okay, let's go ahead and let's load up the header. Obviously, last time it was giving me some issues saying that something was going on in the header, and it's most likely because we have some of these decorators up top here, which I'll talk about, which do cause some issues, believe it or not, within React Router. But we're going to see if that's exactly what's going on. So it's obviously an issue with these decorators, and we had in the same issue in home, in our switch, in the products list, it was giving a whole bunch of errors, and in header, we're loading up with current user to grab the current user. I'm loading up with data to grab a session variable, and I'm grabbing this autobind. If you haven't used the decorators before, it's basically a function that wraps stuff. So in this case, it's wrapping a class, and I'm using 3 of them. The autobind one simply just makes it so you don't have to do .bind this on every single React action. This with data is pulling in a meteor session variable, but what it's essentially doing is it's acting for tracker, where every single time that this session variable changes, it's going to make sure the prop updates. And now the with current user is also a current user container, which is essentially just subscribing to the user subscription and pulling in the current user data. The only reason I need this is really because it's nice to make sure your subscription's done and everything before you get going. Now, am I using any of these? Well, if we come down here, I definitely am using, well, at least checking the role, right? I'm checking to see if the user is within the role of pro. Now, if your subscription was not complete by the time this is checking, I might give you maybe a false positive or negative. But other than that, I'm passing in, let's see where I'm even using current user. I'm not sure I am using current user unless I'm passing it in through props or this props. It's kind of wild here. I thought I was using the user subscription at some point, and maybe I was just waiting on the subscription itself. So I think that might be a good place to start, is simply pulling out this with current user. Because it's obviously having some issues. Now, one of the things that I was able to solve in another project that used Meteor and React Router and used these decorators to bring in data, I used a with router component, but I don't think that is going to solve my issues in this particular case. I think it's just angry. Let me check it out. This is the joys of live doing anything though, right? You're always going to hit little snags and want to troubleshoot them. Let's see. Let me just go ahead and I'll remove both of these decorators. I can't imagine that the with data one here is causing any major issues, but it's possible. I'm not using Redux. No, I haven't necessarily found a need for it in a project of this size. A little bit of extra overhead. My only major state management is, triggering a nav on and off or something like that. Change the import link from React Router DOM. Hey, that might actually be, wait. That might actually be what's causing all of the issues. You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry my compiler is taking so long right now. It's taking forever. Yeah, and I'll change it in a home component as well, but home's not currently loading, so it shouldn't be causing any errors. Ooh, where are we at here? Okay. So something going on in main nav, which actually, yeah, is probably another issue of importing from the wrong spot. So in this kind of case, right, I can do a find and replace over the whole project. So let me find every single, yep, there's a whole bunch of them. So every single time we have this, I'm going to replace it with from React router DOM, and let's see if, is this the replace all? Yes, let's replace all. There we go. Okay, so actually that's one of the things I really like about VS Code is how fast some of this stuff is. I don't know why it's making me resave all of these files. I must have hit a unexpected keyboard shortcut or something. Oh my god, okay. Save them all, come on, come on. Okay, and here we have the header. Yay. Okay, cool. So again, we have an unknown prop active class name on an anchor tag, which is probably happening all over the place as well. Where's our active class name? Active class name. I actually don't know what the active class comparison is on React Router for active. Let's Google that. Active class. I often just like type a whole bunch of stuff into Google and let the search bar figure out what I was actually trying to type. So we have active style, active class name. Is that what I have here? Active class name? Active class name? Yes. So why is it complaining about active class name? Unless it's actually on an anchor tag. Import nav link instead of nav. Active class name on the nav link. Import nav link. But wait, why nav link instead of link? Right, but like, why? Um, why navlink? I guess I'm confused about why navlink. Right, I get that, but I mean, that's not going to make the active class name not complain, which is just what I'm trying to do right now. Okay, so well, I'll import navlink here, but I don't understand why the docs say that the docs just had active class name working on a standard link. So I guess that's maybe where I'm confused. Unless, of course, those were like outdated docs, then No, that should be just the logo. Okay. I'm going to use navlink here too, just because these are navigation links, I suppose. Let me just find and replace. Link, find and replace. Replace all. Yeah, that's wrong. That's not what I want to do. And did I do that over here too? No, I did not. I messed up. Okay. Yeah, React Router 4 is like this. I know. For me, you know, when you learn new things like this or you're converting stuff like this, it is just like a grind of having a bug and fixing a bug, having a bug, fixing a bug, you know? And that's just how it is. Yeah, no, I'm definitely I'm not like necessarily the most I don't know what the best word for that. Not careful, but I'm definitely the type of developer who just starts clicking around and typing around and tries to break things and then fixes them, more so than a let me plan it all out sort of first kind of thing. And that maybe that's, you know, a good thing for some people. For me, that's how I learn best, is to really struggle through something. I don't have the benefit of being able to edit everything all the time. All right, main nav, line 28, another issue. Okay. It also doesn't help that I can't really see my keyboard because there's a mic in front of it. So let's see, line 28. Yeah, that'll do it. Right here, that'll definitely do it. Sidebar. How do I change the color of the sidebar? Like here? This is just whatever theme. I'm on the latest version of VS Code, and there are a handful of themes that take advantage of the new theming system in VS Code. Not all of them. I believe the one I'm using is, where's it? Preferences, color theme. I'm using material pale night. You'll see some of these like lighter, whatever, they change it. And then you'll get into some of these other ones like material night 80s. They don't change it. It's just based on, you know, who's currently keeping their stuff updated. Okay, no errors so far, and we have our header component loaded up here, so things are going a little bit nicely. Really, like I was mentioning before with React Router 4, it comes down to basically we hit these different sort of situations in which basically we're sort of drilling down through components, and that's going to help us reduce a whole bunch of sort of boilerplate code. Now I can have my autobind on here again. I had a with data that was pulling in a what was that pulling in? That was pulling in a, let me check my history. Get history, view file history, view file contents. Yeah, here we go. I want to bring in my decorators. So it wasn't the decorators after all. That's good, because I like my decorators. Paste these in here, back in here. Cool. Yeah, this is my third conversion from React Router 4 to, or 3 to 4, and I did not know about Navlink until you said that. So thank you for that one. So we have with current user, with the session variable, and just simply with the autobind. Now, like, you might be wondering why I'm not using something like Redux or other state management, but in all honesty, for things like toggling a menu or something like that, man, Meteor session variables, I think they get overlooked a little too much because it's really nice and easy to simply just have maybe an action that sets a session variable, and then I can just have a decorator that it grabs the session variable. It's just really super easy. And like I said, this project isn't big enough or it needs major state management or anything like that. Okay, so the header is now good to go. No errors, everything looks nice. And now we want to head back to the home layout where we can then load up some of our stuff again. I'm going to get the admin toolbar loaded up here because I was getting some errors with that as well. And I am very confident those errors were definitely the link component being imported from React Router and not React Router DOM. Okay, the admin toolbar is here. This is a nice little thing I have for myself. Basically, it stays out of the way. I have the couponer, the dataizer. Made some nice little admin tools for myself. Because this is a totally custom platform, you don't have any of the benefit of having all that good stuff like, default order listing and stuff like that. So here we go here. Let's go ahead and add the switch statement back in. And hopefully things go a little bit smoother now that we have the correct link. Yeah, and this is my first live stream, so thank you for watching. And I will try to do more stuff like this. I've definitely had maybe a little bit of anxiety about doing live streams. So because I lean pretty heavily on editing, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so we have our home layout, we have our route, which loads up the home component. Inside of our home component, should be able to have everything working as expected. Hey, here we go. Here's the level up store. Looks like this is loading up correctly. Yeah, so we have this is a billboard component. This is a featured products component, which is the products layout. And this is the stickers thing, become a pro, mailing list, and footer. I mean, this is all here. The homepage is all here working correctly. Now I also have two cart wrapper components, which I could probably approach these differently. Like I said, this is one of my first React projects, so things definitely were, potentially they could be done better. For instance, we have the mini cart let me log out because I'm a pro. I'm getting download links. Refresh this. Yes, the manage userizer. I actually think I have a lot of my components that are admin tools end in isers, even if it isn't say that way in the store. So add to cart. Yeah, this is the mini cart up here. Cool. So that's all working. Goes away when you scroll. Nice. Now, next thing I want to do is head back to my routes file where I can check it out and say like, hey, what's next? Well, the pro sign up product page is definitely something that I want to have going here. So we're going to load up essentially the next component down the line. And like I said here, we're not using a lot of these. It's nice to, when you're doing this, pull it out. Cut it out here, then head to your home layout, which is now where this route is now going to be determined. So, by the way, in VS Code, Shift and Option and the up or down arrow key copies and moves something down, in case you did not know. So that's, if you just hold the Option key, it moves a line, but if you hold Option and Shift, it copies and moves it. Yeah, writing tests for Meteor and React. Yes, really writing tests for media in React is something I need to do for the site anyways. Could be a good topic. I have a very large media in React project that has a whole bunch of test stuff going on, so certainly have some examples to pull from there. Okay, so the route for this is simply just going to be just products/pro, and then the component is the pro signup. So products, pro, this is just going to be pro signup. Okay, let's see if this is all good now. So we have the first probable working route here. And it works just fine. Okay, pro signup page is in. Now, I could just keep going and sort of doing these as they go. We have a couple of, I don't know if there's anything really crazy going on here. Maybe once we get into some of this static layout stuff. But let's talk about maybe some of the things that are going to be on every page. Now, we don't have literally everything on every page. In fact, we have our home layout has the default helmet, it has the header, it has the footer, and it has the admin toolbar. Now, the admin toolbar, the footer, the header, and the default helmet are going to appear on a ton of stuff, but what they're not going to appear on is they're not going to appear on the what is that I'm trying to think of? The receipt layout, right? They're going to appear in the static layout, and they're going to appear on the home layout, but they're not going to appear on the receipt layout. So in the current version of this, there is definitely not, there's definitely opportunity to make this code more dry, right? There's no reason why I should be using the default helmet on both home layout and the admin layout. So we could actually break this up a little bit more, and we have this home layout component. Oh yeah, I should update. Yes, sorry, I keep checking the comments every now and then. Yeah, Rob, that duplicate line comment that saves my life 100 times a day. So yeah, again, option shift. Yeah. Okay, super cool. Yeah, so we have this home layout component, which is where I was sort of going with that. And, we have this routes. I want to load this home layout, but I'm thinking about maybe changing the way I'm doing this. For instance, if we have a receipt, it will go to receipt layout, but maybe let's have this be, instead of home layout, let's have this be main layout. I'm going to change this up top here, and I'll even change the file name, because you gotta do that. Layouts, home layout, rename, main layout, here we go. Now in the main layout file, change the name from home layout to main layout. Why am I doing this, you ask? Well, because I'm no longer going to have a home layout, a static layout, a admin layout, and a receipt layout. I'm just simply going to have a receipt layout and a main layout. The color scheme I'm using is, once again, color theme. I should just plaster this somewhere. Material theme, pale night. It's under material theme in VS Code. The font I'm using is Fira Code, F-I-R-A. I have a video of that on the channel. Cool, so we have main layout, which has a page wrapper, it has a default helmet, it has this header, and it has this switch statement. And now I can actually include my admin stuff. I can include all of my admin layout stuff exactly in this main layout. I no longer have to have an admin layout. In fact, the only thing the admin layout is really doing differently than the home layout, other than having a class name of admin layout that's not even doing anything, is it's checking to make sure the current user is an admin, and if it is an admin, it's allowing them to go through. But yeah, that's going to save me a little bit of a component here where I don't need one. Okay, next step. Let's go ahead and grab a product page. Let's see, next one. Yeah, products type. None of this stuff is too crazy now that we have essentially our things going on here, because there's not a lot of nesting going on where this path, products, and then the type. This is using basically none of the same stuff from any of these other pages. So it's not like we could really simplify this all that much. So I'm going to import product page. But one of the nice things that React Router are having to do such a maybe substantial rewrite of your routing system allows you to do is really like cut the fat and find out situations where you're not being as optimized as you can, you know? So the switch statement is acting like a switch statement in JavaScript. It's matching these, what would be the path as the statement and saying, hey, is this path equal to /? Sure, but is it the exact path? No, next one. Is the path equal to this? No. Okay, next one. Is the path equal to this? Sure, load up this component. The switch statement basically means that only one of these will be loaded at a time. If you were using, I think, the route, I think you can just use these route components without a switch, and if it matches, it's going to load it. The switch statement functions a little bit more like the router that you're used to. Okay, so at this point, I have a product/type, which would be tutorials, right? Get an error. Let's see. Cannot read product property type of undefined product page, line 9. So product page. I'm guessing this has to do with using parameterized routes. Product page. Is there a component named product page? Product page. Okay, there is. I don't know why I wasn't finding that. Okay, so obviously there's some sort of weird issue here where it's saying cannot read property of type of undefined, which means that params is currently undefined. Let's go ahead and find out what is defined. Here, I can do so simply by just commenting this out and then reloading this up and checking out my React Dev Tools. You know, you could head to the docs and I could do it this way, but it's a good opportunity to learn something if you dive into exactly the component. So I'm using the React Dev Tools here. There we go, and I'm going to look at the product page, and see that I'm getting inside of here, I'm getting a history, right? I'm getting a location, I'm getting a match. Now match is exactly what we're looking for because inside of match has params, which is what we want here. So instead of just straight up params, we're going to be looking at the match prop. So I can import, or I can access the map prop through the syntax here and change these to match.params.type and match.params.type into product listing. This totally unnecessary comment down here. The product page component template uses home layout. Great. Don't need that. Sometimes I write these comments in my code that I'm thinking are going to be really helpful, and I'm just being totally unnecessary. Again, prop types. I don't even know why. There we go. Match type of object. Now a lot of people don't like using prop types.type of object. This is pretty inconsequential right now, so I could change that, but okay, let's check this out. Also, I am using prop types. Okay. Okay, we now have our tutorials loaded. T-shirts. There are none, but it says T-shirts up there. Stickers. Yep, this isn't using the real database, so obviously these product information, like I don't have a product named Hello, obviously. But yeah, there we go. Next step, I want to get an actual product loaded. So I'm going to do that nice little option shift down. And let's go ahead and grab the next thing. We want the actual product to be loaded from our products. It's almost like you're moving your routes file into essentially just different files here. It's, you know, I like the system a lot, to be honest. And once we get React Router going with server-side rendering in Meteor, you'll get it. It's really super nice. Okay, let me load up this. Now next, route is going to be simply just /products, type, and then SKU. Now you could even do it where you had maybe like a product component that took care of this path, and then you maybe looked for the type, and then maybe you looked for the SKU inside of another switch statement or something like that, and that might keep things organized instead of having a giant switch statement here. But for now, it's nice to just sort of get this up and running and working, and then you can always sort of tweak it later. When to use export default class and when to use export default at the bottom. Yeah, so here is the deal with that. Basically, you cannot export a default const or variable. You can export a default class in assignment, but you can't do so with a constant variable. I forget the exact technical reason. It has to do with when they're created. But if you are using a constant variable when the functional stateless component, you'll want to do export default down here. Now what would work is export, right? But not export default. So I like to just use export defaults all over the place. In fact, there's only like 2 places in this app you'll see that I'm not using export default, and that's just because I need to change them. I have not done that yet. No, don't forget exact on product type. You are correct. Yeah, I mean, the exact is definitely a nice thing to have here. Let me see if this loads up next. Okay, cannot read property SKU of undefined, so that's the same thing we were having before. So to the product page, where instead of basically using this.props.params, well, this component's kind of a mess. Like I said, this is one of my first React projects, so if you see stuff in here that's not great, it's most likely just because it's old code that I haven't had a chance to go and update. Okay, so this looks like the only place I'm using params. So this.props.match.params. Is this using tracker React? Oof. Okay, yeah. So in this, when I first built this site, I was using tracker React. I actually wonder how many components are using tracker React because I'm not totally psyched about that. Yikes, a lot of these are still using tracker React, so I guess I need to go in and change how I'm fetching data on all of these. One thing I can do is show you that right now, even though this is mostly about React Router 4. Let's head to containers. You can see I have all these containers here. So for instance, if I want to grab a single product, I'm using this container where I'm grabbing the product ID, I'm getting that single product, waiting for it to be ready, and then I'm just outputting that single product. Now I think I'm using the product subscription. Is this the same? The single product? Actually wonder what the difference is between the subscriptions. So products find one, and I'm really just looking for the SKU. Okay, nothing crazy. Yeah, that's not a great subscription. I'm guessing this is subscribing to all of the products completely, which is totally unnecessary for an individual product load. Like I said, this is one of my first sites I did with Meteor. Well, not only Meteor and React together, but Meteor itself. React itself. So there are definitely certain things in this code base that need a lot of updating. So let's go ahead and use this single product here. But instead of a product ID, I'm going to grab the SKU of the product. Maybe that is, yeah, because I don't need the ID. So let's do new file, single product. I can just single product SKU, I guess. I'm not always the best at naming things, but here we go. Basically, so how I'm grabbing data for Meteor in this is I'm using this Meteor Orion Soft React Meteor data, which is really a lightweight package that turns in basically the standard way of getting data in Meteor. Basically, just turns it into the ability to use a decorator really easily. And it also makes it really super nice to grab data from Meteor methods and not just publications. So we can say, let's say single product SKU. I know this is kind of, okay, there we go. And again, we're going to be looking at match. And inside of here, we're going to say, actually, is that product? Yeah, okay, we're going to say match dot. Yeah, is this how I want to do this? See, I guess the live coding thing is tough because I usually might think a little bit more about before making these decisions. Okay, yeah, we could bring in match here, and we can say match dot params. I don't like this, but because this is assuming that this single product SKU will always be. I'm also editing the wrong file. Wow, this is a great string of action here. Okay. Yeah, so really the bummer about this is that, well, here's the answer. The answer is that I'm not going to use a reusable data container. So with this with data thing, you can build essentially reusable data containers really easily and have them available. But in this particular instance, like, I don't need to reuse this data container. So we can come in here, we can get rid of this tracker React business. I'm going to get rid of this subscription. I'm going to get rid of the whole constructor, don't need it. Get rid of the component will unmount, don't need it. I'm going to get rid of the product here, but I'm going to keep this because I want this. Okay. Get rid of all that stuff. And obviously this .state.subscription product ready business is no longer going to be working at all. And I essentially want to do an at with data. And I believe this just accepts an arrow function. I'm going to do this without checking because I'm confident that it might work. Let me confirm that that is going to work because I am not confident. Yeah, so I just returned an object. Okay, so inside of here, basically the way this works is with data allows you to pull exactly from Meteor data like you would and then return two things here. So we could have a product, which is going to be equal to essentially we're finding a product, as well as a product sub or a product subscription here. And we can grab in, honestly, just to save time here, I'm going to clean this up later, but just to save time, let me get rid of this. Just to save time, I'm going to use the same subscription, which I believe would just subscribe to products. So we can say well, no, this is a const. So constant variable product subscription is equal to meteor.subscribe. No, autocomplete does the wackiest stuff sometimes, right? No, man, what are you doing? Okay. It told me it was going to just complete this subscribe thing, and then it went on to not do that at all. So I'm just going to subscribe to, again, I shouldn't be subscribing to other products right now, but like I said, I don't want to get into my subscription stuff just yet. So product sub dot ready. And with data, you can pull in props the same way you could. We can say match. So I can access my props as they're coming into this with data. That's where I get this match from. So match comes from the route. Match.params.skew grabs the skew from the parameters, and it finds me a product. Now, instead of this .state.subscription.product ready return loading, I can actually just, well, in my render statement, first and foremost, I can say const, and I can get access to the product as well as the product sub, and those can be equal. I always type from there instead of equals because the import syntax is so similar. This dot props. Yes, the with data is basically the same as the create container. Basically, it just allows us. The thing I like about this with data is not necessarily using it like this, but more or less creating these reusable containers, right, with the current user. And then, for instance, in the header, if I need that current user's information and I want that, I can just use with current user. Like, that's easy. These reusable data containers are really nice and simple that way. Yes, okay, so this syntax here. If you haven't seen this before, let me explain a little bit. Basically, you have this .props, which is an object, and inside of there's a whole bunch of other objects. Now, instead of wanting to have to type this .props.product or this .props.product sub every single time, right? It's nice to just declare these variables. So you're declaring product and product sub by pulling them directly out of this .props. Now, for instance, instead of having to check to see if the subscription's ready with this whole big line of stuff here, I can delete all that and just say, if product sub is not ready, well, if the subscription's returning false, then I can return loader. Now, this is taking this into a little one-liner here. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Where am I? Here we go. So basically checking the subscription. If the subscription has not loaded, then just straight up return the loader. Now I'm using this set attribute data name to this.product.names, and I don't know why I wouldn't be doing that with the React helmet if I'm already using React helmet. We're going to be getting some errors because of how I changed the prop structure of this quite a bit. You can see line 33 is basically giving me an error saying this .product doesn't exist. Obviously it doesn't exist because I got rid of it. So product. So what I want to do, not find and replace across files. Sorry about that. All right, what I want to do here is I want to look for this .product. And I want to replace it with just simply product. Let me make sure all of these look all right first. Man, I do not know what I'm doing here. Like I said, this particular app was created a few years ago here when I was learning React and Meteor together. So like some of this stuff, like, yeah, I guess here I'm creating a bunch of image paths because I don't have them saved in a database. The images aren't saved in the database, so that's basically the issue here. In a smart way, I would just have this upload the images and save it all in the database, and then I wouldn't have to generate these image paths for each one because I have different device size for image paths. But that is for another time. Now, another thing, I have this playlist datas variable, which I'm just simply using down here. Am I using it down here too? Also, I have this giant if-else statement with a ton of reused code. If the product SKU is next level 001, I see what's going on here. I should essentially be having a separate component. This should be route-based. The issue is that I sort of did this kind of hacky to get this up a long time ago here. Basically, what I wanted was the page, the next level, if we head to store.leveluptutorials.com, I basically wanted to have, if the product was a next level product, and specifically next level number 1, I wanted some things to happen here. And what things are those? Well, I don't really know how this code's that different. I have a lot of the same stuff here. This is going to bug me a lot. First things first, though, I think I can go through and just delete all of this stuff. What is different here? Yeah, I mean, this is something I would want to maybe do a diff on or something like that to check out what's different, but just simply looking at this, I don't think this is what I want to be doing here. In fact, I'm confident enough that I can just delete that whole thing, delete that whole business there. You know, there's something really cathartic, is maybe a right word for about like coming in here and deleting tons of lines of code. Big fan of deleting lines of code and then figuring it out later. Okay, so check it out. Some things here. We have an edit button. The edit button is just being loaded as a variable down here. Now, at the time, I liked this syntax of pulling everything out into constant variables, but I don't really like to do that anymore. Like, look at this. I could move this edit button stuff, and I could paste this in here. And sure enough, I have a ternary operator here to say, if this person is an admin, right, then go ahead and show this link. Otherwise, just show an empty string. Like, I shouldn't have this. So there's an easy way to get rid of this. If you are using some sort of inline conditionals in React, you can simply say ampersand, ampersand. Get rid of this business. And then you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Basically, what this is saying now is if the Meteor user is an admin, if this is true, then just show this stuff. Otherwise, it's going to return false and it's not going to output anything. So as you'll be able to see here in a second when we head to our individual product page, where we have hello. Here we go. We don't have an edit button on this because I'm not logged in. If I log in, sign in, you can see it should have an edit button. Where's it at? Let me reload this page. Oh, it's not showing up for a variety of other reasons. One of the reasons is somehow I'm getting away with using an href on a link tag. Keep in mind, I use this edit button all the time on the live site, and I have no idea how that's worked ever without having a to property, because I seriously use that all the time. Yeah, this little ampersand thing here in exchange for like a ternary operator or anything like that, or even like a conditional that you have to define somewhere else. I think some people might not like it. Some people might think it looks a little iffy, but honestly, it's clean. And if you put this on a second line here, like I have here, where you have brackets, here's your conditional, and here, as long as it's not too crazy, to me, this looks nicer than having a variable playlist datas up here. Again, I'm using the same ternary operator thing. Let's pull this out. Pull it out. Throw it in here. There we go. Tupac going. Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of this. Change the double ampersand here. Yeah, that's clean now, or at least it is to me, and that's what matters. Some other interesting things here. I'm using this dangerously set inner HTML. It's because I'm just using markup. That's pretty much it. I have these products saved. The descriptions as markup. Okay, now the last one we have price, which apparently I need to, if there is a sales price, then show the sales price. If there's not a sales price, then just show a price. Again, I can take this, even though it's a ternary operator, I don't want to change that. I can take this and just put it directly in the component. I'm more of a fan of that, to be honest. I know some people aren't. But to me, I would rather have my conditionals inline. I think it just stems from using Angular a lot or just PHP and stuff like that. So Yeah, as you can see here, this is, in my mind, this is significantly cleaner. You can read this. If, if there's a sales price, output this, otherwise show that. Okay, where else are things going wrong? Let's scroll down. You can see my edit button is officially in here. So I now have an edit button working. Hey, thanks, Matt, from the Netherlands. I always wanted to go there. Yeah, I'm trying to basically um, just give more interesting content, I guess. Things that I'm interested in, and that's always where Level Up has always been for me. So I'm happy to be recording significantly more right now. I was I was coding for a startup and just coding nonstop, and it's nice to be able to have a little bit of a breather here. Cool. Okay. So yeah, everything's looking really nice here. If the product subscription comes in, we're all good. Show the loader. Again, I could remove this body set attribute. I don't know why that's here exactly. But again, I don't want to just start deleting stuff. And then we have nothing really crazy going on. The add to cart button should work, although I'm signed in as a pro, so I'm getting a download button. And that actually should be reactive, which it's not. So I could always take a look at why that's not reactive. But one of the best parts about React is here I'm changing the whole routing structure of everything. My add to cart button still works no matter what without me doing anything. I'm actually surprised I'm not losing my voice at all. Now, the next thing we have here is I'm not going to touch on in this video because it's just sort of too out there. I maybe want to spend some time to rethink about it. But basically, I have a very specific product layout for a product that I'm actually pulling from the store right now anyways, so maybe I just won't code it on here. The Next Level React Native series is being replaced, and that was actually one of my favorite things about the store overall. Like, check out this little animation here. Woof. This page has a very unique layout to it. It has a completely different layout to it than any other page on the site, essentially. But like I said, I'm pulling this product in favor of the new React Native for Everyone series, which is not only a whole ton cheaper, but it's a little bit more streamlined. This is like more of a basics, right? And I'm going to get into intermediate and advanced stuff later. But I think this series approaches things a little bit better. The problem with the React Native series before was really that it was just too much, right? It was 8 chapters of videos, and if the moment one thing gets invalidated, it's difficult to keep up the rest. So these are a little bit more bite-sized. They're going to be working a little bit more like the Meteor for Everyone series. Okay, so let's check out what else I have. Oh, of course, I just quit Chrome. I don't know how many times other people do that, but I hit Command Q instead of Command W like once a day. I think I have fat fingers, so like you probably notice that sometimes I'm typing, I'm just hitting the wrong things entirely. That is a symptom of that as well, accidentally quitting your browser. Okay, so I'm not going to bring in this product at all. I'm deciding that right now, making some hard choices, but it's... And the next thing I have is this checkout page, and the checkout page is bugging me quite a bit because it's a checkout route, right? But what it isn't is it's not any sort of its own page, right? When you hit checkout, this is really a window on top of the home page. Like, this is the home page. You hit this checkout here, and this is just sitting on top of it. it's not even animated anymore, so that like totally loses that effect that I had. I don't know why it's not animating. Probably something that I changed at some given point. But like I said, this page here, I want to do it as a route, but I want to think about it differently. And it's one of the things that React Router here is going to help with. So we have our path checkout, and all I'm doing is setting a prop on the home page to checkout open. And instead here, what I can do is bypass sort of this stuff and use React Router to do this business for me on the home page. But why on the home page? It seems to me that it would be better to do this on the main layout. That way you could open the cart and have it drop in from anywhere while still maintaining the route, which gets interesting here because this is one of those things that React Router 4 will do very nicely for us. Everybody, maybe hang tight for a minute here. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to think about this for a second and get right back at this. So hang tight. I'm going to pause the stream, but I'll be right back. I take that back. I have no idea how to pause the stream. I have no idea how to pause the stream. This is my first stream. So just hang tight. I'm going to leave it running here. I'm going to leave it on some code. My routes page or something like that. Or even main layout. This is a little bit more exciting. All right, hang tight. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, back here, I think what we're going to do here is get some sort of checkout thing going on here. And like I said in the last little bit, I have I think it's on home. I have essentially the cart wrapper full here, which is the big old cart. And that cart, um, again, I know this is React Router, and there's so many things I would like to do to this cart component to change it. But basically, it's accepting a type which determines whether it's the full screen or the mini cart. Now, I did that to reduce some sort of code reusability, but to be honest, the cart small and the cart full components are so different. I'm not quite sure why I needed one wrapper for both of them other than just to bring in the data. And at this point, that would have worked better with a reusable data container. Yeah, it's one of those things, right? So I'm going to pull out cart wrapper from home. I'm going to put it in main layout. And I'm assuming I can put it anywhere. Like I said, it's been a little bit since I've modified some of this stuff. So I'm making assumptions that things are going to work the way I expect. Make sure I import cart wrapper. Now in this case, it's accepting. Here's another good tip. I don't know if this is like if hyperlinking in VS Code is on by default, it might be a package. But if you hold Command, you can hover over a component name, click it, and it'll open that component. Yeah. And this is another component that I'm kind of upset at right now because it's using Tracker React. I have an empty constructor. Eesh. It's really just not great. I think I could redo this really, really quickly. All I'm doing with Tracker React is essentially grabbing a session variable and preparing the cart, which again, I don't even want to look at some of this code I'm pushing. I'm not using like filter or map. I'm not using that sort of stuff. So again, this code is, I'm using a Lodash each. I guess this is before I knew very much about ES6 stuff. When I first started writing this site was a while ago. So this thing is kind of one of those things that works well and you don't want to touch it because it's working well. I might just have to totally nuke this off camera because I don't really feel like doing it right now. But really, once I get through all this bad stuff over here, basically the only thing I'm looking at is, well, if the prop is of full. And what's going on here? Okay, if it's full type, then go ahead and use the cart component. Otherwise, the mini cart component, like I said, this would have been way better off with a data container if I had the sense to do it at that point. But in addition, the cart component essentially is accepting a whole bunch of props, but none of the ones I'm really needing right now. The one I'm looking for is basically what triggers the cart to turn on. Again, another JSX component. I'm not super psyched about some of the stuff. I might have to rewrite a considerable portion. This is a big old component. Let's see. You can see some of my class names are really nice. You have a class name of dang right here. If your card's been declined. Sometimes, I don't know. Let's see, checkout class. This is, I think, what I'm looking for right here. Checkout class, basically, if this.props.checkout, I believe if this is going to be equal to true, then we're going to... where is this.props.checkout though? What is that supposed to be? And obviously I don't have a prop types for some reason because this is an older component like I mentioned. Yeah, so where is that being set? That's a great question. I'm looking for this.props.checkout in cart wrapper. I don't think. Let me make this a little bit easier to read here. Jeez. Okay, this.props.checkout is being set directly by this.props.checkout, which is entirely unnecessary considering I'm already have this.props. Okay, that's annoying. So in home was just passing cart.checkout. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was being set from the route right here, which is the one thing that I was trying to do. Okay, so the value here was just simply open, and there's no reason this should ever be a string, but I'm just setting it directly to be a class. Like, there's no reason this shouldn't be a Boolean. You know, there's sometimes you look back at your code that you wrote a couple years ago and you just have no idea what you were thinking. But that's how it goes, right? Okay, so we have on our main layout, cart wrapper is going to be equal to type full, whatever, and I'm simply just going to say, well, I can leave that this dot props because I don't want to mess it up. I really don't know what's in there. I'm going to say checkout is equal to, and just a string of open right now, and then that way this hangs out. Cart wrapper is always going to be turned on, hopefully. Let's see, we should hit the main layout here and cart wrapper should be on. I'm going to be using React Router 4 and all of its dopeness in a second here. Props is not defined? Yeah, it's not defined, you're right. I don't want props in here. I just don't want it. Okay. Okay, so as you can see here, the cart is loaded, even though I'm on the home page, right? Nothing special here. It's being loaded because I'm forcing this property checkout to say open. And like I said, that's working within the system I had made on the assumption before that I would want to turn it off and on via a prop like this, or just be a class, because the class is really just making it appear. All of it could have been done so much better. What I want to do here is I want to go ahead and, well, I want to make sure that this route works anytime that a checkout is appended to the end of the route. That way you could open it on any single page, and part of the beauty of React routers that you can have a whole bunch of routes. So I'm thinking if this is going to work or not. Somebody stop me if this is a terrible idea. But we can come in here, get rid of this exact. We can say, instead of / we can say checkout. And then for component, instead of having a component, we can render again. Like I said, stop me if this is turning out to be a bad idea. I have not personally used React Router in this way before. Okay, I gotta have another closing bracket. ESLint is doing some stuff, and this is not returning anything. I could simplify this. I don't know why I didn't in the first place. Let me go. Okay, so now the route, basically the path, checkout, render, cart wrapper, full and open. You'll see nothing here, nothing yet, that is. By nothing, I mean nothing. Let's come in here. Oh, compile time is taking a long time. Okay, I'm gonna click this, which basically just hits a checkout route. And I don't think that did anything that I was expecting it to do. I might need to consult the docs on this one. Really what I was thinking that was going to do was it was going to say, hey, checkout is in the path, therefore you should render this. that not something that happens? I feel like that is something that happens. React router. Head to the docs. I need regex for that. Do you need regex for that? I don't want to need regex for that. I swear they have something where they have an example here. And maybe not the recursive paths example. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's the match. Oh, wait, person.match. Where am I looking for this? Let's see. No, I don't need a custom link. So route, if the route path, yeah, how do you give it any valid path to regex understands? You know what? I thought this would have worked just by saying, oh, you have npm package. Yeah, you're right. So maybe I am just needing regex here and just saying it needs to contain the checkout word in the path. Let's see some examples here. I don't know if you need to have the package path to regex installed, because I'm thinking that's just saying the React router said any path that this would understand. Zero or more modified parameters. Named parameters. Yeah, I haven't tried / checkout because that will work. But what I guess what I was hoping. Let's see. I was hoping that basically what would happen here is that I could make this dynamic, right? Like you could be on tutorials and have this be / checkout and have this load up the checkout correctly. And it's not going to find this route. And then instead of like the close, where the close would just take you back to the home page, it would essentially, and I know there's a way to do this. They showed an example of it in the initial React Router chat. Michael Jackson showed it off. Huh. I feel like there has to be an example of this somewhere. I mean, this is kind of what I'm looking for right here. person is essentially matching, finding, gotcha. I see kind of what's going on here. They're using match URL. Man, that is going to work. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is how you do it. So basically I'm going to be using string interpolation here, like backticks, and then I'm going to be having a forward slash, and now I'm going to get to use the match prop and say match.url. This is going to grab the entire current path. Yes. So the entire current path plus the checkout, although I'm not importing or bringing in match. Let's do that up top here. This is going to work. So basically, the current URL with checkout at the end will in fact load up the cart wrapper. And I'm hoping this is going to work a-okay. It seems like it should to me. Okay, I don't know why this compiler is taking so long right now. I'm guessing it's because of the live streaming. I'm going to do the next time I'm going to do a live stream, I'm doing it on my desktop. The only reason I wanted to do it on my laptop is because this is primarily where I code. So my tool set is all nice and set up for me here. Rather than on my desktop, I changed a lot due to just whatever I'm working on. And of course, you know, some fun stuff's going on. Tutorials, product. Oh, what it's doing is it's seeing this as the param because I don't have an exact path on the skew here. Now that's actually kind of a tricky one. I'm wondering, because this is hitting this route and it's thinking that checkout is a param here. Yeah, more fun stuff with routes. Well, that's something I want to think about maybe. I'm not quite sure how to get around that one. Other than just making a check to see. Yeah, I guess that's what I do. Okay, so either way, I have a path. I had checkout to the end of it. It's in the main layout. This should load up the checkout. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be upset. Come on, compiler, you can do it. You can do it, come on. Ugh. Okay, didn't work. Let's find out why it didn't work. It, for some reason, thinks that the current path is // // What's up with that? Main layout, match, path is just // No, it's not. That's O. Yeah, you're right. I might have to change the path. But so this is happening for a very specific reason here. That is not a reason I'm super excited about. Let's check this out, right? I'm going to show something here, and I'm going to see if we can struggle through fixing it, because this is totally unrelated. Like, this is as unrelated as it gets, but I'm pretty sure it's the issue. If we check out our browser router and we head to our router, whatever, anywhere we can see the match, we look at match, it says path is // Now, in any given situation, I would head to tutorials. It should tell me that the path is / tutorials, but you will notice that it's not. And it's not for a very stupid reason involving decorators. Involving decorators and React Router 4. So how do I solve this? I solve this with router, I think. I'm going to say I think because I'm pretty sure that this will fix this, and if it doesn't, I'm not going to know what fixes this, to be honest. So we're going to say with router, which comes from React router DOM with router. What's happening here is that because of the data container, it's angry, basically. And I have my app here. It's not passing the right props. It's not updating our props into main layout. You see that here, even into our switch, into our route, main layout, match is not updated properly. And we want to do that with an app here. Yeah, so Rob, you are right. And that's how it should work. It's not working that way because match.url is currently turning up as an empty string. It's currently turning up as an empty string because of these data containers. And I'm going to convert this app from a stateless component here into class app extends component. Let's see. We're going to see if this works. If this doesn't work, I'm going to be a little concerned here. Okay, well, let me return. I had this issue on another site, and this solved it. So at this point, I'm using this decorator with router. I'm wrapping app in with router, and we're going to see if this works. Yeah, Rob. So this will this route component in React Router 4 sort of takes care of that for you. Basically, this route component takes care of that if it is basically if this path matches the whole URL, then checkout, then go ahead and render this stuff. So that is the conditional right here, is simply using the route component. And I could do that. Check if I could do it that way. Honestly, I'm just trying to work in within the router, within the React Router 4 system here. I think that would be, a totally valid way of doing that. I think this just sort of does that for you. As far as passing the props from app to route, that's not, I don't think, necessary here. I'm pretty sure that this issue is specifically because no, second guess all you want. I don't even know what I'm doing. I am struggling through this. So let's see. Component is not defined. Of course it's not. One of the hardest parts about working by yourself is that you have no one to scrutinize your work. you don't always have the idea if what you're doing is dumb or not. Okay. Now things seem to be okay. Let's check the app. Let's check out match. Match has the URL. It's still not updated. What about main layout? Is main layout updated? Yeah, so this is so annoying. It's telling me that the current URL path is just /, right? It's not giving the entire URL path. Although the path name and location seems to be working fine. So why is match wrong? Params is empty too. Wait, what's up with that? Params is empty inside of here. Trying to think about how I solved this before. So on our main layout, am I using anything funky? I could be needing to wrap main layout with a with router. The issue was the last time due to the fact that props were not being updated because of how React Router handles this. I'm hoping this does it. I did see an issue because people were having the same issue with MobX because you use decorators all over the place in MobX, and basically the solution was to drop in a with router anywhere you are using a switch statement. Ugh. Ugh, ugh, ugh. So why in the world would match not be updated? What's interesting here is that I'm using params dot the name here to get the params, and if you open up here, is that this? Let's see. Is the product page have the correct match? The product page has the correct match. So why does the product page have the correct match, but blarg. Let's think about this for a minute. The product page, what's different about product page? Product page has match correctly, getting the correct props, but main layout for some reason does not. I am so confident this is a similar issue to what I was having with this other app, where I needed to just use with router and everything was good. But why? But why? Let's see. Yeah, I would do if location is path name, but I know that the match prop should be cascading downwards, and I should be having that updated correctly. There's no reason why match should have the correct value within here and not. It's all within the router component. I have checked the docs, but it's not super clear. Let me check something else out here. I have another project in an alternate window that worked fine. I'm using router, passing app. App extends. I guess, oof. Let me think. Yeah, I don't know if it does, Rob, but it's sort of what I'm doing, right? By having that match or by having that entire URL in front of there, you're almost sort of saying like as long as it's at the end of whatever URL, then it works. I mean that I think you probably could do it regexy some way too. But what's weird is just that it's flat out not getting the props. I mean, app dot the props for app should have match at the correct path. There's no way around it. It has location correct. It doesn't have match correct. Params is an empty object. Yeah, why does that... It looks like that updates for like a brief second. It does update. And then it's empty. Not to mention it's saying that isExact is false when isExact is definitely true. Right? I mean, I'm requiring it to be exact. So let's check out this with routers to make sure they're both in here. With router, sure, match. Now it'd be different if, like, let's think, if the route has a match. Like if this switch had this route match being correct or accurate, then I feel like I would know what to do. I could just get those props, right? The fact that the match is just not accurate to what the actual path is kind of tripped me up. You can access... Right, so basically... Show the location match, yes, yes, yes. Is with router being loaded incorrectly? Is that the issue here? I'm using with router from React Router DOM in another project and it's working fine. So I can't imagine that the fact that I'm loading with router from React Router is the issue. This should be 1080p. I swear I had that settings, but who knows? My internet connection at this point could be the issue. Ugh, 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 ugh. Okay, I'm trying to think here. This is tough. Let's see. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure the issue here isn't necessarily the match stuff. The issue is that the props aren't updated, right? The props aren't going along down. They're not cascading downward. Like here's a little exercise here. In my app, I'm simply just going to remove this route. I'm going to have, let's say, a div in here. It says hi. Okay. And then if this app extends component gets the correct path, then that should tell us something here. So we have hi, browser router, router, with router, sure, whatever, route, app, location is right, path is wrong still. Yikes. This is driving me nuts. I'm going to fire up maybe another project here and see exactly what I did. All right, hang tight here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up another project. Let's cut this out. I need to see exactly what's going on. I knew this is an issue I might face, but I was sort of expecting the solution to be pretty easy. Let's go ahead and dig in here. So while this is firing up, I might as well plug some stuff. Head over to store.leveluptutorials.com if you want to help support this channel. While my things are loading, I'm going to advertise here. I have a new series, React Native for Everyone. It's just React Native Basics. It just came out this week. It came out last week, but it's super, super good. It basically everything you need to know to get started with React and React Native. And by the end of it, you end up being able to export an app. I mean, I have an APK that I threw up on Google Drive and installed directly on my phone. So at the end of this series, you learn a lot about both React and React Native to build real native apps. Check it out. Okay. Let's see. So this is a site I built. Let's see if it's... basically, this is a site I built for breakdancing. I use it to keep track of my moves. I have some tools on here. Either way, it's a nice little thing that I built for the breaking community, but I recently updated it to React Router 4. And if we head to the darn router and we head to the state, okay. Oh, interesting. The path is just /. Okay. Well, that is a little encouraging. The route path here is also just /. Interesting. And match here, app path is this. Now that's wild because I am certainly using the same match in this project. I mean, I'm using it. So at what point is the match object actually correct? Main layout. Still not correct. React Meteor Data, my moves, match is now officially correct. So what's so special about my moves? Let me open up this app in VS Code and see what's so special about my moves that it is in fact getting that route. I could just be straight up dumb. I'm thinking about this right now, and the route path that it's matching is in fact just /. So the reason why my moves is working correctly in this other example is because, say, home layout? No, not home layout. Main layout? Main layout. The main layout moves my moves exact path. What about... So this is the first point that it's deriving from just a straight up forward path. Yeah, that's it. I mean, the route is matching this path, and that's why match... Yeah, okay, so that makes way too much sense. That makes way too much sense. Okay, so if you are just now getting to this point and you haven't been following along, I'm having some issues here where I'm basically just trying to match a path, and I'm trying to match that path in the React router. I'm trying to match a path at a more surface level of the app. And I'm doing that... Okay, thank you for letting me know that the material icon theme... Okay, whatever. I'm doing that by using this match.url. This match.url is only giving me a blank / because at this point, that's all it's matched. It's giving me a more than that inside of these other routes, and that's specifically why match.url is not giving me the actual URL Yeah. Okay. So what's a good solution for that? Let's think. Let's think. Let's think. Let's think. Sorry, the compiler's taking a long time. Also, welcome from Romania, Morocco, and the Netherlands, and where everyone is. It's pretty amazing. I'm broadcasting here from Denver, Colorado, and it's like 100 degrees out here today. So my computer being super hot is not helping. And Bulgaria. Dang. Okay. It's amazing to me that you can broadcast. I don't know. I'm still blown away by modern technology all the time. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It's giving me some cookie tossing stuff. Yeah, regex is still a good solution. And it would still work. I just wanted to do it this way. I don't know why I got attached to this idea. And Germany. Wow. I'm gonna get rid of some of this with router stuff. I think it was just sort of complicating things. I want to get the current path. I guess what is the current path, right? What is the current path? Yeah, the current path is just path name from the props. So within main layout, obviously match, got it. I get why match is that way now. I can use location.pathname. Yeah, that's the answer. I don't need to use regex. Location. And if it seems like I'm just hostile towards regex, it's just because I don't like regex. I use it all the time. I use it frequently, and I just hate it. Okay. Since this already has a / on it, I think I could just do this. This hopefully is finally going to be the solution, where I'm getting the current path, location.pathname, a pending checkout to it, and then the cart wrapper is going to just load up. Awesome. Somebody from Australia, Ireland. Jeez. I don't think anyone here is from the U.S. Is there anyone from the U.S. right now? Let's see. Hey, okay, this is sort of loaded up. There is no framework here. This is all 100% coded from scratch. Well, except for Meteor and React. I'm using Meteor and React and Stylus, and that's it. No CSS framework, no design framework, none of that stuff. All custom. And why? Well, I actually started building the site in Reaction Commerce. Hey, oh yeah, Texas. What's up, Joey? And I started building the site in Reaction Commerce, which is actually built on Meteor and React, and I really liked it. But there would be one or two things that Reaction Commerce couldn't do the exact way I wanted it to do, and it caused me to be upset and just... So there was like, I think I spent a good solid week being like, well, this would be easier if I just built my own. And then I was thinking, well, building your own is going to be a giant pain. Well, I guess I should just build my own. It was a hard, tough decision. Okay, again, I'm an idiot here. I'm using path name, which includes the word checkout, and I'm checking to see if the word checkout is on the end of it. That way checkout is never ever going to load. So what you could do is you could take the current path name and remove checkout from it entirely. This is just seeming like it's getting kind of outrageous at this point, right? So let's think. I mean, like Rob said, I could always just check to see if checkout is within location.pathname. But then do I get the benefits of React Router in that case? Yeah, I don't really see why I wouldn't. So location dot path name dot I don't index of, or was it contains? What is this? String contains JavaScript includes, not contains. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Dot includes. And if path name includes checkout, then we can actually have our, this is like the most roundabout way to get to this solution that a bunch of you guys were saying to just do in the first place, essentially. But that's how it goes, right? And look at that, checkout is open. Now, likewise, come to another page here. Let's load this up. Come on. Tutorials, blah, 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 / checkout. And this should hopefully turn on the checkout. Now, you know, the cool thing about doing it this way rather than doing it another way, again, I'm having, there's like nonstop issues with this. I can see why I just made checkout a route of itself in the first place. Yeah, I get it. Okay, I get what's going on. Let's go to product. And I honestly, I should just do this. I should check. If I return, here's an interesting question. If I return null from the data container, is this just going to return null overall? That's a good question. I'm thinking it won't, but we are going to see. Yeah, it didn't like that. It didn't like that. Yeah, so maybe this checkout route thing wasn't such a great idea. I've gone down like a total rabbit hole here. Ugh, 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 ugh. Well, the good news is that I'm not using the checkout route. Like I'm still using the checkout route like this. So if you're clicking around in the site, like nothing broke here. So the good news is that if I wanted to continue to use the site as is, it's going to sort of work correctly. Now, a huge weird thing here is the cart's no longer showing up with data. Great, 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 great. But obviously the process of this is to use React Router, not to fiddle around with Meteor data stuff. Get rid of that return null because it's stupid. The issue, the reason why it was crashing is because of the same reason before. It was seeing product / type / checkout and assuming that checkout was the SKU of a product, and then that obviously was returning that there was no such product. And instead of getting like a no such product page, because I didn't make one, it was just getting that there was an error because I'm assuming that there's always going to be a product. Yeah, I wanted to have that checkout route like that so you could hit the checkout and have the checkout be sort of a window appearing above the code, but have it also be managed by the history state, right? Being managed by the routing history. So that way you could programmatically just say, hey, go back a route, go forward a route. I'm honestly not sure if the benefits are worth the pain that it's causing me. I would change the path to skew, but like I really like my clean URL structure right now. And adding another one in there isn't exactly what I'm interested in, but it's not a bad idea. I mean, that would solve the problem. No question. Okay. Yeah. So, well, really what I'm going to just keep on doing is keep on fixing some of these routes here. So, I have some static layout stuff. And what's in the static layout? The static layout is not within the home layout, but I'm nearly positive the static layout is just the same stuff. So this static layout does not even need to exist. So like, for instance, the privacy policy terms of use, these could, once again, just stay within the main layout. Import terms, I believe that's in static pages. Okay, yeah, so I'm pretty sure that at this point, it's just going to be a lot of copying and pasting. You've seen me struggle through some things, get things going, get things working a little bit. But screen flick, come on, man. I'm not telling you to update. At this point, I don't know how worthwhile it is to show the rest of this process. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is moving. Actually, I know what would be useful instead of just moving these links here. Because right now, I'm just moving a bunch of static links, right? And that's just going to take time. What is going to be useful is having these administrative links. For instance, I have a whole bunch of administrative tools like adding a product and stuff like that only show up when you're an admin. But the routes themselves aren't necessarily protected by anything. And they could be. You could do it sort of how I'm doing it here. Let's check out a couple of ways, right? For instance, not orders, because this is localhost. Let's go add product. You notice it's not showing anything right now. On the live store, add product gives me my new product form. This lovely new product form. But I want that entire route to be protected. Right now, I have an admin. Let's see. You know what? The way I'm actually doing this is probably the best, except for I don't want to use an admin layout. I want to use the main layout because I need the header and all that stuff. But I want to use an admin page. So instead of admin layout, this can just be admin page. But the React Router docs, there's a really nice way you can do authenticated routes. If we come up top here, we can say, where are authenticated routes? It's like custom, not a custom link. Let's see. Yeah, so they made a private route component. Let me see if I can bump this up. So they made a private route component, which basically loads the component, brings all your props in, and if you are authenticated, it can load the component. Otherwise, it can do this redirect to login. And this would certainly work out just fine, right? But in all honesty, I don't need... this isn't like user-facing. I don't need this level of stuff, and I want to wait for the Meteor subscription to go through. So you could make a private route and everything like that, but at the end of the day, what I'm using right now, where I'm currently loading up an admin layout, waiting for the user sub, waiting for their credentials, and then just returning null. This isn't user-facing. I don't need to redirect them. I'll just give them a total blank slate. So let's think about that, right? I have all these routes. I want another route that's for admin stuff. Now, this is going to reveal a little secret. I prefer not to use the word admin or stuff like that because so many places have admin, but obviously I'm live streaming this, so cat's out of the bag here. I use something called admang, just like admin, like you're an admin, but you're an admang. It's a stupid joke. And because of that, all my routes are kind of hidden through obscurity, and now they're no longer hidden through obscurity. I have admin page. So I'm changing this admin layout to be admin page. I'm doing that for a fun reason here. We can import admin page. From. This is going to be in layouts, which I'm already in. Admin page. This file doesn't exist, so it's complaining. I'm going to change the name of admin layout to be admin page. Get rid of it importing up top here. Okay, save this, and let's head to admin page. Let's do some work. Admin page. So admin layout is now admin page. I'm going to be doing the same thing where I'm checking for the current user, the current sub. You might be wondering where these props are coming from. I'm wrapping them right here in a data container. And basically, if you aren't any of this stuff, then, well, don't show anything here. And instead of children, which I don't need anymore, get rid of that, I'm once again going to have a switch statement where I can put in all of my other stuff. And look at this vanquishing lines of code here. That's what I like to do. Let's get rid of all that stuff. Okay, and then let's import switch and route from, here we go. And I'm just going to copy and paste a little bit more because why not? Okay, so the way I have this working right now is if you hit admang, you're going to the admin page. Now, typically, if this path, I think I can just use / here. Let's test this out. The main admin route is add products for some reason. It's something I'll probably want to change, but I have the add products. Where's my admin components? New product. Okay, so I can import new product. Import new product from admin new product. I don't know why it's not finding this file here, obviously. Get rid of this .jsx on the name for one. Unresolved. Why are you unresolved? I'm currently in the admin page. I'm looking for back admin. Let's try this again. Sometimes VS Code can help me out here. Admin from new product, just in case I mistyped. Route, path, $, location. Let's see. I'm not sure, Rob. I could check that out, to be honest. I'm sort of, I think that might be able to work. I'll try it off screen just so I don't spend an exorbitant amount of time trying to get that stupid checkout route thing working. The by the way though, the version that we had with the include did work. It just got hung up on the what's it called? It gets hung up because of the skew for the path. So you don't need all that extra stuff that you have in there. This right here, this works. Although I guess you are saying to keep it within the route component. Yeah, I don't know. I'll try that off screen. Let's check this out here. Admin layout is not defined. Admin layout is not defined because, yes, obviously I didn't define it. I'm exporting something that doesn't exist. Okay, so I'm gonna put a wraps to this at 4 o'clock here. I just want to get this last admin sort of stuff going because 4 o'clock is in 8 minutes for me. Let's see. Okay, so admin is loading. Let's check to see if new product is. It's not. Switch route path. And that's actually just because I'm saying /path. Once more, we actually want to use match correctly this time and use match and say / say match.url. However, what is that URL? What is match.url? Okay, match.url. Okay, so I don't need the /, everything's all good. Save this, basically index route right here. Cool, this is my new product form. Let's see if I can add a new product. Test new product. I can use sticks.ping. Actually, let's use rn.ping because instead of developing an image upload system, which should be totally trivial right now, I just decided to throw the images in a folder and reference them. Definitely a speed, not a great idea sort of perspective here. Okay, let's see if this will save. Wait. Okay. Hey, product added. And beauty, just like that, we have a product in here. Works. The download link, it shows up even though there's no download file and will cause an error. So either way, as we can see here, I still have a bunch of work to do, and most of it at this point is really just copying and pasting. And you can see to recap this marathon, right? To recap here, basically we have on startup, we're rendering our router, we're bringing in an app component which has a switch statement, which is really totally unnecessary for right now, but eventually we'll be having route path blank, and this will be an ID. I think this is like order/ID or something, and this is going to be the receipt layout. The reason why the receipt layout is totally different because it's basically a blank white screen. If you ever ordered anything from the store, you'd see it. But as you can see here, we have a switch statement which drills you down into main layout, which has another switch statement which drills you down into these others. And the cool thing about React Router 4 is that as you keep going, you can keep adding these. Even switch statements or just simply using a route statement to determine something, right? You could load any given thing based on a route path. So yeah, I will save the stream if I know how. I think YouTube does it for me, and I'll put it up. You can watch me struggle through converting this to React Router and making some bad decisions along the way, and occasionally making some good decisions as well. But either way, check it out. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this, let me know. I'll do more live streams in the future, and I promise they will be much less painful because I'll know the hardware and equipment a little bit better. But either way, yeah, shoot me any questions anytime. Let me know if there's anything you want to see. I'm going to get this all going with, here's what I'll do. I'll get this all going with React Router, And after all of my routes are converted into React Router, I'll live stream another one as I add server-side rendering. That way we can see server-side rendering within React Router 4. So, as always, this is Scott, Level Up Tutorials. Thanks so much for watching, and check it out. More live streams in the future as I get better and better at them, hopefully. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do more, and I'll do more on this code base too. There's obviously a lot of stuff I want to update on this code base, and we can talk about it together. So thanks so much for watching. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.